Let's just say the road to scratch is a long road.
You just want a room together? Because, they just pair you up with randoms.
All right. Welcome to the Road to Scratch podcast. Here we are. I have brought in for my co-host and my partner and my friend, Matt, and I'm Shane. And this is, if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, it's kind of in conjunction with the YouTube channel. The Road to Scratch podcast is part of the Road to Scratch YouTube channel, and we're going to talk about golf. If you haven't figured out what Scratch is, if you just fell onto this randomly, this is a golf podcast about God knows what. This is the very first one. It's going to be raw. It's going to be rough.
We'll figure it out.
And we're going to figure it out. First things first, I want to make sure that we thank wholeheartedly Swing 365 Colorado for allowing us this venue to do our podcast in. It is a great facility owned by a PGA professional, family-owned business. There's all kinds of memberships being offered right now. So if you are looking for a place this winter in Colorado to work on your golf game, this is the place to be. If you are looking for a place to come,
awesome.
It's great. It's a full swing facility, so all the Tiger Woods technology is here. If you're not familiar with that, it's some of the best in the business. So we want to thank Swing 365 Colorado for having us. All of those links will be in the show notes, and if you're watching this on video, it'll be in the description below. Hook it up, link it up, come in, do a trial, whatever it is. Code SCRATCH for 10% off of any of the memberships. Hopefully you guys will get something out of it. I was here a few days ago, and let's just say the road to scratch is a long road. I've been doing this, I think, almost 2 years now. But anyway, we're going to get into all that stuff with the background of our golf history or whatever. But it is definitely going to be a game changer for me here. Hopefully I'll get Matt in for a few of these sessions too.
Absolutely.
And we'll get some numbers put together.
Yeah.
So anyways, Swing 365 Colorado, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Check out all the stuff in the show notes description. We love this place, and we're so happy we can do it here. So here we are. All right, Matt, without further ado, this is our first one.
It's our first one, man,
Yeah, so I don't know. I have a kind of a rough outline of what I want to talk about.
All right.
But we're going to let it flow. We're just going to let it go, and we'll just see what transpires, and hopefully this gains a little traction, and we can do a lot more of these. We are definitely looking forward to this. I've been really excited to do a podcast about golf for quite a while. Mm-hmm. I know we're a little late to the game. It's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I said, this is Matt. Matt and I we go way back.
We do.
Let me just jump right in. We go way back. Let's see, when we first met, it was 7th grade.
Yeah, we were about 12 or 13, I want to say, when we first met. And, kind of were in and out of each other's lives for quite a while.
Long time.
Yeah, I went to high school together.
Yep.
We went to college together. We were roommates for freshman year.
Well, that was the wild part, too. So, 7th grade, I think, is right. But anyway, so, we went to high school together. We're friends in high school, but then college comes around, and both of us independently decide to go to the University of Kansas.
We did.
We didn't talk to each other about it or anything, and then I find out he's going there. I'm like, oh, that's cool. We'll probably see each other around.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then we were like, you just want a room together? Because, they just pair you up with randoms.
Yeah.
If you don't do that. And I'm like, sure.
We can do it.
Let's do it.
We can have the option to do it.
We
squeezed into a dorm room together.
Super tiny dorm room, and should we date ourselves with the date?
No, I don't want to do that yet. We're not. Yeah, long time ago. Regardless, it was a long time ago, but it doesn't feel like a long time ago. Honestly,
it does not.
But so the dorm we were in no longer exists. I think we talked about that. So we got squeezed in right against the stairwell.
Right.
On the 6th floor at McCollum Hall,
University of Kansas,
and we had 2 beds. We ended up sticking them basically like a bunk bed style. Yeah, so we had more room to actually move around.
It worked out pretty well.
It worked out. Yeah, we didn't kill each other after a year, which
came close, but
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it probably did make us a lot closer, but it was. I mean, it's tough,
right? Yeah, you know,
tough when you're 18, 17, 18 years old, and you're trying to live with somebody and
never
off on your own the
before.
first time. Yeah.
You know, and
everybody's got their quirks and
figuring it out. You're not used to being away from your family,
right?
You know, normal routine, and
trying
to figure all that out. And
I
always remember, you know, everybody thought we were brothers.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Because we would argue and bicker and just be like, I don't know, just stupid stuff and
random stuff for sure. Yeah.
It was all good though, you know, but it was fun. We had a good time.
It was a good time. I definitely miss those days. We made some good friends while we were there. One of those friends ends up being a PGA professional, which was crazy because we went out and played golf with him a lot. I ended up rooming with him our sophomore year and junior year. Yeah, boy, that's a long time ago. I can't remember that. Anyway, we lived on the golf course.
Right. Yeah, and you guys had a cool spot.
Yeah, it was really cool. I played golf in high school along with some other sports.
Yeah.
Matt did not, but he played golf. I mean,
did.
You got the opportunity to play golf with your dad growing up. But so living on the golf course was epic, but I was coming from avidly playing because I played in high school.
Right.
And you'd played, but not at a competitive level, and we just met another bunch of guys that love to play, and which was great. I mean, that was like hopefully someone around here plays golf, which obviously they did, and so we got to do that while we were there, and that was fun, and still friends with that person for sure.
Yeah.
He's still in the golf industry. He's a Class A professional. He has, since my son took up the game of golf, sent him a lot of free stuff.
Gives him a bunch of clubs, yep.
That's, it's always the benefit of knowing somebody,
It's a good perk.
For sure. But so I don't know, maybe talk about, I guess we'll get into like our backstories of golf. Talk a little bit about, how you got into the game and your ins and outs, because I certainly had my ins and outs of the game too. So,
Yeah, I started, I think the first time I ever went to a golf course was our driving range. I was probably, I want to say 9 or 10, I'm going to guess.
I think I was about the same.
And my dad took me over to the Welsher driving range, which was into the lake.
Yes, with the floating balls.
The floating golf balls, I remember that, and had some small, hand-me-down clubs that somebody had given him, and that was my first memory of ever swinging a club and figuring that out. And then, a couple years after that, my dad actually, fortunately, it was pretty amazing. He was able to join the Denver Country Club, so I ended up, getting to play at probably one of Denver's most.
Poor guy. I
know, it was rough. I always was so grateful though. Honestly, like it was one of those experiences. Like I never felt like I never took it for granted. I knew what an amazing course it was, and and I got some. At that point, I started playing with my dad, and he'd take me out in the afternoons, and just kind of grew up going and playing 9 with him. Probably from the time I was like 11 or 12, and then all through high school, I started to play more. But it wasn't really competitively. It was really just more
go out with your dad,
him, and, with some friends that I knew there, and stuff like that. But it wasn't I didn't join the golf team or anything like that. And so, but I played quite a bit with him. Good part of the summer out with him, and then as I got into high school and knew other guys that played, we tried to get together and play and things like that. But, it was always, I guess that was always my connection to golf, was just really with my dad.
Sure.
And even now, it's still something.
You still get to play with him.
We still get to do.
Which is awesome.
It's kind of the whole biggest thing that binds us together. Right? And how it is when you get older, you have your life, and but golf's always something we can get together and do. And so it's been good. And when I met, knowing Shane through high school, and Shane played on the golf team, and we went to college together.
And by the way, playing on the golf team doesn't mean by any means that I was some phenomenal golfer.
Right,
it just meant that's one of the things I did in high school, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot.
Yeah, and you got pretty good.
I mean, I mean, I had guys that were older than me that were actually, and I'm grateful for this too. They did teach me a lot.
Right.
And our golf coach, quote unquote, Mr. Beitler, good dude.
Yeah.
The worst person in the world to be a golf coach or to teach him anything. And he knew his limitations. He was never going to give us lessons. So I was, I got better because those guys were willing to help. Yeah.
And you got that competitive, tournament golf under your belt, and stuff like that.
Right, which definitely will improve you very quickly.
Totally different experience.
Oh yeah,
if you're playing that way versus
just going out and farting around with your dad.
9 holes with your dad, a couple times a week. But,
right.
But and then got to college and brought the clubs and get out with those guys periodically, and that was pretty fun. And, so and then of course as you get older, obviously the country club golf kind of slipped away, as far as being able to do that as
change
as readily.
When you're out of the shadow of your parents. Yeah.
So golf kind of came and went, but I think it's as far as like consistency goes, as far as always being able to work on my game or get out and play and stuff like that. So
which definitely we'll talk about that too, as far as like. I'm obviously on a journey that's going to be different than yours, and that's why I think this is going to be really cool. That like this, having this podcast and be a cool piece to kind of add to the puzzle.
Yeah.
By the way, do you speaking of playing in college? Do you remember one of the first times we went out? Because our friend Joe, who ended up being the PGA professional.
I know you're going.
Such
with
a
this.
good dude.
Yeah.
When we all we kind of grouped together from one wing and found out a few guys played golf and. There was a few other guys that were like, oh, yeah, I play golf for sure, too. And one guy in particular had made claims. This
I knew
was
exactly
so ridiculous.
where you were going with this. Yeah.
So Joe and I are very competitive people, and I would say you are, too, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to, get out and let's get a match together. Let's find some guys that want to play, like a 2v2 or something. Right. And this is way before YouTube and all this stuff. God forbid we would have cameras if we were back then, if we were doing this. But... So this particular guy claimed that he was a 2. He was playing to a 2 handicap at the time.
Yeah.
And for me, that was like, whoa, oh my God.
Right.
I mean, I was probably at 8 or 9 at the best at that point.
Yeah.
And there was Joe, who was probably legit 2 or 3 at that point.
I think so.
He was like I think he was number 1 on his golf team coming out of high school. Had a baseball background, but got into golf after that. His dad was playing golf, and once found out Joe that was super excited about it, got him into a lot of lessons, and Joe got good really fast. He's one of those guys that just picks very natural, and so he got really good at golf really fast, and so he was good. Obviously he wanted it as a career, and that's what he did. But so we tried to figure out a team, like 2v2 team, that would be even. And at the time, none of us really, I mean, according to this guy Chip, he had a handicap. I don't know how we would have access to see the GIN or GIN or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true. I had one posted. That's the reason I knew what I was. Because my dad would make me go in. I think I was like maybe a 9 or just below at the time. But again, I was playing in high school, so I got to post scores all the time. It was easy to post a lot of scores.
Yeah. I'd post scores too, and I think I got it at one point. I think I got it down to a 12.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I think when I came to college, it's probably where I was. I felt like I wasn't super consistent, but decent.
Right.
All right. I mean, I was okay with it. For the effort.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say for the time you've put into that point. I mean, that's pretty damn good, especially when you're with the courses you're playing.
Yeah.
Whatever. I played competitive golf, so I was able to post a lot of rounds anyway. So
he has an 8. Joe
probably 8 or 9. Yeah. Joe. I don't remember what Joe said he was playing to, but it had to be comparable to what Chip was claiming,
probably,
because we ended up on different teams. So I played with Joe, and you played with Chip. So Joe must have claimed to be higher than a 2.
Yeah, so everyone thought, this will be fair.
This should be balanced, right? Which should be close enough. Yeah. And
It did not
And
turn out that way.
let's see, we're making the turn, and the match is already over.
Yeah.
We've realized very quickly that Chip is not a damn chance he's
No
a
way it
2.
was he a 2. Yeah.
Or he was having the worst day of his probably last 10 years of golf.
I don't even know if he had played in at least 6 months.
No.
You know,
Well, I remember the first hole, he
Yeah.
barely got off the tee.
that's right. Oh, my
And
God.
and the other thing that I remember about that match in particular is we had another group of friends ahead of us
That's right.
that was playing on the first
Right.
hole, and it was really windy that day. And I just remember it was a short par 4, and Chip had claimed to have played here a bunch, and we had never played this course yet
Right.
because we were freshmen and we just getting out. It's the beginning of the semester.
So true.
And it's so windy out there. And we get out, and he hits this 2-iron off the tee that goes maybe 50 yards. And Joe's trying to hold back, laughing, and already going, like, he's like looking at me like, we got this in the bag. If this is how this is going to go. I think you hit a pretty good tee ball.
Yeah.
And then Joe hits one in the fairway, and then I come up and I take out a 4-iron. I'm like, I'm just putting it in play. Well, I catch it like it was this weird, like, low slinging hook. Right, and it launches kind of low, but it goes out and it's just starting to turn. And Joe's like, "Oh, that'll be perfect, man." And as it lands, we realize it's gone so far up the fairway that the group ahead, Mark and these guys were playing, and they look back and they're just like putting their hands up, and I'm like, "What are they doing?"
Right.
My ball rolled onto the green.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And
Yeah.
I remember I don't know if I don't know if they knew we were playing in a match or not. But I remember watching Mark pick up my ball
And throw
and
it back.
throw it back down the fairway. And I remember Joe just losing his,
guys were
what.
pissed, yeah.
He was not happy because I'm on the green with a 4-iron.
Right. Downwind.
Chip has already chunked his tee shot. And it was like, we should be 1 up already. So I think, as I remember, I think Marco was like telling us where it kind of was. But I just remember, like, that was the start.
Right.
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 And like I said, by the time we hit the turn, the match was already over.
Yeah. We were down pretty much every hole.
You were down. Yeah, I think by the time we came to 10, match was done. Like 10, we were 10 up with 9 to play. So it was, and I just remember you were just like, we were gonna play. Obviously, we play the rest of the round.
Yeah.
But Chip had every excuse in the book. You were mad because you're like, these teams aren't fair. And we're like, dude, we were just going off like what this dude told us. We barely know this guy.
I'm trying to compete against you two.
And you're just like, this is garbage. And we were playing for money. And you're just like, this is crap. I'm already like,
How much money were we playing for?
it was probably
Do you remember?
nothing. I mean, it was a lot of the time, I'm sure. But like, I don't remember.
$20 or something.
I want to go back and figure that out. But I just remember you were so irritated. You're like, we're not doing this again. And Joe and I are both like, well, yeah, we got to find somebody else.
Find somebody else.
This isn't gonna work. But that was so that was kind of the start of like our golf in college. But it was cool to have guys that played.
Absolutely. I'm
Even
glad
if
we
Chip
did.
wasn't a 2, he still played with us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Even if I irritated me.
That was just the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Well, I didn't realize I was going to have to carry the team.
You ended up having to. I remember you like there was a few times you were making
I
putts
made a few putts
just to like stay in it.
try to stay in it.
Because he was, Chip was out of like almost every hole. And like Joe was just like, by the 4th hole was like, there's no way.
That was a weird day.
That was a very strange day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was fun.
It was
That was fun. Yeah. So anyway, that's how far back we go with golf.
Yeah, and then, I can remember other summers, getting together and playing like at different courses too during college and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With Glenmore or different places.
Well, I'm trying to remember at the
Yeah.
time, was my dad. So, talk about spitting the privilege card real quick. My dad was at a country club for a while too. That's where I take that back. I guess I'll go into like, so you started around the same time I did.
Yeah.
Same age, like 9 or 10 years old. My brother, who's 4 years younger than me, was also put into golf lessons at a course that had just opened at the time. No, it was open for a while. I think it was open for a while. Anyway, it's so long ago. But my dad put us in lessons because he was getting into golf. So he was like, this is another thing I can put my boys in for another sport, whatever. And I just remember hating it. It did not come naturally to me.
Yeah.
Not at the beginning. It was not something I was into. I was playing soccer and basketball and at the time I was playing baseball too, which I did not like baseball. Nothing clicked for golf with me. Whereas my brother, who is 4 years younger, he's already like striping it
really
in the first few lessons. And I remember like the instructor coming over at one point talking to my dad, and I overhearing them talking about how this kid could make this his sport. And of course, any parents just like, oh yeah, really?
Right.
But my brother, who's like
awesome.
he's very good at a lot of things naturally. He's just a good athlete. He's got good hand-eye coordination, but he just took to it so quickly. And I don't think he gave two craps about it either.
Probably why.
Yeah, just go to golf lessons, hit some golf balls, go play a few holes,
right,
and we go home.
Yeah.
I just loathed, like, because the drive to get to that course from where we were living, my dad had to come pick us up from my mom's house. It was probably close to an hour to get there.
Is that right?
45 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
So I just hated everything about it, and I just wanted nothing to do with it. And I think that we did a few years of that, and like the moment I had the out,
Right.
I was out.
Like,
I just don't want to play anymore. Right. And so I just didn't play any golf for a year. If I didn't, other than like the occasional, my dad would bring us to the course and we'd play.
Yeah.
I loved riding the cart. Occasionally he'd let me drive the cart.
Right.
Way before I should be driving the cart.
Right.
So it was one of those deals. I just didn't like it at all. And so I didn't get back into it, and literally until high school, when a friend of mine wanted to play. He was a hockey player, but they didn't have a hockey team at our high school. Right. So he was doing like a club hockey somewhere else, but he wanted another sport in the fall. He didn't play soccer, and I did. So I played soccer on the high school team, and he's like, I want to play golf, so let's go out and like learn how to play golf. And I'm like, oh, I play golf.
Right. Well,
I mean, I can't tell you the last time I'd actually played, but so I remember going out that summer and playing golf with him and trying to figure it out. I just remember being so mad on the golf course. I remember throwing clubs into trees. And again, it was another one of those kids took to it really naturally, so he got pretty good pretty fast. Never played before in his life. He's like, I'm joining the golf team next year. So our sophomore years, we joined the golf team. Right? Yeah. And thank goodness there were really cool dudes that were older than us that were on the team, because I think that experience completely changed my outlook of golf. And I got into it after that. I really started enjoying it. And then I was like, oh man, I want to play.
Yep.
And I'm sure my dad was just like, now you want to be interested in this? Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, it was not a sport that drew me until, and by the time I was wrapping up high school, I was addicted to it. You know, I started getting to the point where it was clicking a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I think it's important to remember too. I mean, when we were growing up, golf wasn't like it is now. Like not that many people really played it.
Right.
And it didn't, at least that's how it occurred to me.
Yeah. It wasn't
like a primary thing. A lot of people did. It was sort of like I was on the swim team and that was my thing.
Yeah.
And I played golf, too.
Right.
Or whatever, or you played soccer and played some golf.
Right.
And so it wasn't like, there were people, of course, that like just devoted their lives to it. But for the most part, I don't know, it just didn't really occur to me like there were a lot of, not like now where there's, just really young golfers that are just playing all the time. And
it's obviously blown up the last few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, golf's blown up.
Yeah.
It's definitely the thing. Like, there's so many people interested. It's definitely grown rapidly. The age of Tiger Woods, certainly, we watched him growing up.
He's like our age.
Right. So it was like, he blew it up and got a lot of us involved in it. Right. And then the generation that's like playing right now on the tour, we're all little kids.
That's right. Yeah.
Even guys like Rory who are like their mid-30s now, they grew up watching Tiger, and that's what they wanted to do. And so now it's Bryson and it's Scotty and all these guys that are dipping into the social media world because of it. And that's where I think it really exploded. It was 2020. When everybody was forced to go do nothing, and then there was these groups of kids that were out there that got creative with the sport, and they couldn't do anything else but just film themselves randomly.
Right.
And it just became this like something that no one ever imagined was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it grew so fast, and all of a sudden here we are, 2026.
Yeah.
And the popularity is unbelievable to me.
It's me too.
To the fact where like they're taking stuff from YouTube to the tour, because
right?
they need the views
Yeah.
because that's where
Yeah.
all the interest is.
Everybody's looking at that.
Yeah, they want that personal aspect, which a lot of other sports I think had more of.
It's so incredible.
Yeah, so it's definitely changed. So like, my son who's in high school is playing on the golf team, and I think I'm trying to remember what he told me tryouts were this year was the most they've ever had, or the year before maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like 60 kids that showed up.
Wow.
And they have
That's
a JV
amazing.
and a varsity team.
Right.
And I don't remember how many they're allowed to have, but it's way less than that, maybe 20 kids.
Right.
So think about how many kids had to get cut.
Totally.
And some of these kids are just starting, right? And they're just, come back, they're encouraged to come back and try again, but there's unfortunately we can only take so many kids.
Right.
It's not a football team, it's a golf team.
Right.
And it's all based on funding and all that stuff. But anyway, so that's how popular it is.
Yeah.
Just
Amazing.
yeah, I mean,
Yep.
that's crazy. I mean, we had how many guys did we have on our team? So we had 6 spots for varsity, and I think we had 4 spots for JV or 5 spots.
Yeah, I was going to say it couldn't have been more than 12.
But I think we were allowed to have 12.
Yeah.
I think we ended up having 12. I mean, I take that back, but that's as many as we could have.
Yeah.
And I think we struggled to probably get 12
like
kids.
10 to 12
Yeah.
on each team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So that was crazy to watch the explosion the last few years, the
Totally.
last 5-6 years.
Agreed.
Pretty wild.
Agreed.
But yeah, so I hated golf until I was in high school. I just hate. I didn't like him. If my dad ever listens to one of these, he's probably gonna, punch a wall because and thank you for doing that because
Right.
it is definitely something that grew on me to the point where it became part of my life for many years.
Right.
Through college, after college.
Right.
I mean, again, I had a good friend, Joe, that was like, he took it to a career. I actually decided that's what I thought I wanted to do.
That's right. At one point you did. I remember.
And I went into that, like, right out of college. I'm like, I'm going to go work at a golf course. And I'm going to work towards, getting good enough where I can take my PAT and I can get my card and I can go become a teaching professional.
You
and
worked hard at that for a while.
I did. And I don't think I worked hard at the right ways. A lot of incorrect things I was doing. But I even went out and found an instructor a little bit for a little while to try and help me kind of like get there.
Yeah.
Certainly was leaning on the friends that we had in the world of golf.
Right.
And yeah, I was working that job and another job, and I was doing real estate at the beginning of that too. And I just got talked out of, and this is my own fault, but I got talked out of going that direction, even though I loved it. And then I think I got far enough down the road going down a different path, and I was just like,
other things. Yeah.
So by the time I was in my mid to late 20s, I was barely playing golf.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, I didn't really care either. It went from like addicted to it. It went from hating it to addicted to it to just kind of like fading off. And I would, again, my dad would take us on golf trips.
Sure.
My brother and he would take us, we'd have our rounds occasionally every few weeks. But if I wasn't playing with my dad, which that was always so much fun, I was not playing at all. Like I never made the effort at that point in my life to go play otherwise. Right. And so I'd always go out there and get frustrated. And I think I felt like my dad thought I should be better.
Interesting.
That was my perspective, right? But I wasn't. And then I would ask myself, why aren't you better? And then it was never, the answer was never, because you don't play.
Right.
It was always like, well, you've been playing since high school. You should be better. And it's not one of those things you can just. I can't just show up at the basketball court and get in a pickup game and go.
That's so true.
You can't do that. Golf will never let you do that.
No. Yeah. Yeah, we've had this conversation a lot over the years, I feel like, around expectations, and we're going to explore that a lot more as we go through this. I know like how
expectations are so key.
Yeah, and what golf brings up in you as a person and as a just how you are in the world. And so it's all a part of the journey in the road.
Yeah. And I mean so I guess really long story short, when my son got into golf, it was my moment to say, what am I doing? What were we talking about? We were talking about like the road, the journey.
You were talking about.
So I'm like, really long story is, not short at all. When my son got involved in golf again, it was like my step to say, let's get back into this for real. Right. And if I'm going to get back into this for real, what does that really mean for me? Like, should I pursue what I wanted to do in the first place? Should I just be happy that now I can play with my son and my dad, and now there's like 3 generations on the golf course we could do, because we've done that the last few years, and that's been, I mean,
Been fun.
I've had a whole different perspective with that, like just watching that, especially with my brother out there now too, which his 2 daughters are not into it. His son, who's 10, trying to do the math real fast, just turned 10, is getting into it, and he's another one of those naturally athletic kids that could be really good at it, but he hasn't gone on the golf course yet. So my brother is leaning on his nephew when we go on as a foursome,
Right.
to like enjoy that camaraderie with the next generation. That brought me back into golf when my son got back into it, and I decided at that point I'm going to go full bore. And after and it wasn't right off the bat like, oh, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and I'm going to do all this stuff. It was kind of like, no, I'm just going to work at it. I'm going to help him as much as I can. I'm going to get him in lessons, and then I'm going to work on like my game for real, and let's just see how good I can get, which progressed to, no, my goal from the beginning of this whole thing, by the time I hit high school, was I want to be scratch or better. I want to be able to break 70, which is how you have to become a scratch golfer. Right. I mean, the whole handicapping system we'll talk about some other time, but that's like, I've always wanted to be able to do that. I've never broken 70 in my life.
Right.
And it's always been a goal of mine. But, you know, when getting back into it, it was like, okay, that's where we're going to go with this.
Yeah.
And there was never really the handicap number at the beginning. It was just like, let's get good enough where I can do that occasionally. Yeah. Just figure out a way to do that.
Right.
So I got all the way into, all right, well, I'm going to go get myself a set of brand new clubs. I've had hand-me-down clubs from my dad, which is great, my entire life. Yep. I never spent money on a set of clubs. I had a couple of Christmas gifts when I was a kid. Never been fitted for clubs since I started playing. None of that stuff until my son was involved. And I'm like, I'm giving you these clubs that were like at the time 25 years old. Right. I bought them. I remember buying them at, I don't remember what golf store it was, on a used rack, because I had clubs in my Jeep when I was living in Denver. Yeah. And someone broke into my car and took my clubs that, again, I had since I think those are the clubs I started in high school with. So those were gone. And at the time I was occasionally playing. I was playing every few weeks or whatever, and I had them in. I would just come back from the golf course, and that night someone decided they wanted them. Right. So I went out. I got insurance money because they damaged my Jeep too, and then I had, I don't know, they gave me way more than they should have for the clubs, but I ended up getting those Titleists for like $300, and I had those for the next 25 years.
Is that right?
20 years. At least, 20 years. Do the math real quick. It was they're 20 years old. Yeah. Here you go. Here's my son's clubs.
Which makes sense.
Which at the beginning, it's going to be fine.
Play with.
It was going to be fine. But then, of course, my friend Joe catches wind of that soon after, and he's starting sending all kinds of brand new stuff. Which is, again, Joe, that is amazing. I can never thank you enough for what you've done for him. But I went and got fit for clubs a few years ago.
Right. Yeah.
And that's another eye-opening experience.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, how you found out your clubs were too short.
Clubs were too short.
Yeah.
Standard length, and I'm not the tallest guy in the world, but standard length for the way I, set up and
your torso,
my arms, the whole thing. The guy was like, "No, you're not. Yeah. You need something longer than standard." So I got fit. Yeah. And that made just doing that made a big difference. That helped a lot, which if anyone can, I would encourage to do. So my journey's now to try and get to 0 on my handicap index, which starting almost 2 years ago now, I'm realizing that is not an easy feat.
Easy. Yeah.
It is really hard. In fact, I started posting scores again, and it was kind of fictitious because the first few rounds I posted, I played really well.
Oh, good.
Which is never a good start, because that's one of those, like, I had this like false sense of security of like, oh my God, I'm going to do this in a year.
Here we go.
No. And so since then, I've seen my handicap do nothing but go up, and it's like bounced off the 6 number.
Interesting.
Since I've been going, and that's been really frustrating. I feel like my swing has been, from the beginning of this thing until now, it's a lot better. Yeah. I thought I understood the golf swing, and now I understand the golf swing. but getting to certain positions and working through things, as we've talked about before, I've got old injuries that are causing some problems that now we're like, okay, well, how do I combat that? Right. Because if I can't get in that position and impact, and I'll talk about all that stuff another time, but I'm not going to be able to get any better. I won't be consistent enough to be zero.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
You won't get there.
I won't get there. So how do I do that? It's like, what can I work with, body wise, health wise, combating against old injuries and get there. Because that's going to be, it's a long road. I mean, I just didn't realize, I have no idea how long this is going to take.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But I just know that I'm committed to doing it now and we'll figure it out. But yeah. So that's my journey. That's where I want to go with it. That's why it's called the Road to Scratch, and it's a road. You just drive down this road, maybe forever. I don't know. Hopefully not, but
yeah. Well, like anything in life, you have a goal, you have something you're set out for, and then how the journey takes you places, right? And things come up, and certain situations arise, and you have to change tactics. You have to change timing of everything, and so
and
always
perspective and
expectations definitely change,
which is like, we talk about this all the time, but so I've gotten back into it. I've committed to practice. I've committed to playing as much as I can, which is it's not enough, and hopefully this summer we'll do a lot better. We had some circumstances last summer that it doesn't, that kind of life throws you curveballs all the time, so it's just like figuring that stuff out. But I have put in a lot of work. Matt's journey, Matt's road, whatever it is not the same as mine, which is totally fine. Right. But when we talk about these expectations, like when we go play golf, and we show up, and sometimes Matt's coming straight from work. We're trying to squeeze in 9, late in the evening on a summer night, and I get there, I warm up.
He's warmed up.
I'm on the first tee, and I hit my tee shot. Matt hasn't hit a golf ball in 2 or 3 weeks. Right. His first swing is on the first tee. And if it doesn't go, if it's not even just like a halfway decent down the fairway shot, Matt's like, oh, come on, Matt.
Yeah.
And we've talked about expectations, which we both have to have.
Yeah.
Right? But we talk about this all the time. Should you be upset with any shot right now?
Yeah.
Should you care? Yeah, if you want to care. But, it's like, why are you out here playing? Is it just because you want to be hanging out with me and have fun on the golf course? Right. Or do you care about getting better? I mean, on some level, I know you do, but it's the expectation of...
Yeah, well, I think, you have a vision of yourself that you want to be.
Right.
And you think you are in a lot of ways. And sometimes you're living up to that, and other times you're not. And that's why I really think golf is such and this, I think a theme for me running through all this is just going to be how golf has been a mirror to life.
For sure.
And showing you kind of how you are in the world in a lot of ways. And I think everyone who's really honest about that, when they play golf, they'll see that in themselves. And, I feel like I hold myself in general in life to a pretty high standard. I feel like it's important to me to excel.
Right. Yes.
And I've always been that way.
Yeah.
And so it's when, I've had to learn this, in many things, and golf just is one area where I've learned that, you can't expect certain things about yourself unless you're willing to really put in the time, put in the effort, and the consistency really to expect that. And so it's, and that's what I mean about golf, kind of being a mirror to your life. It's like, it's really eye-opening.
It totally is.
And it's, and so when you asked me to do this podcast with you, I'm like, well, I don't really care about being scratched.
Right.
And you're like, that doesn't matter. Like, what's your journey going to be? And so that's what I've been sort of sitting with that for, a little bit here as we prepare for, doing this podcast, and I think, I don't know if I have one thing where I see this going necessarily, other than it being an exploration about, commitments and my integrity as far as like doing what I'm saying I'm going to do.
Sure.
Just things like that. How do I show up in this? How do I show up in the rest of my life?
Right.
Other things. And, there's no perfect about any of it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be that, because that's the other thing with golf that I learned that a long time ago, that if you try to be perfect, you're going to be like insane about it.
Yeah.
And you're going to hate yourself.
Yeah. It'll bore a hole in your head.
I don't have that level of craziness, I don't think.
Yeah, but I mean, and my dad did a good job of drilling this into our heads when we were kids, and it was really, that's why I think that's one of the cool things about this game, is it literally reflects you as a person in life.
Right.
And it brings out good and bad in everybody. Right. Because of the way the game is structured, it's a game of, it's calling your own shots.
Right.
Like, I mean, if you're not playing in tournament golf, you're out playing, you're just literally calling your own shots. Right. You're upholding your own rules. Right. If you don't care at all, it's like, what level of caring do you have for the game? Are you going to uphold yourself to this rule? Should I correctly drop the ball here, or do I even really care? Just throw it in the fairway. And when you're first learning, you should not abide by any of the rules. Right. Just go out and learn how to play and have fun on the course, and know how that works. But when you get to a certain point, you got to call yourself on stuff. Yeah. And it's really interesting how all of us, you're right, there's a reflection of we want to be the best representative of ourselves when we're out there. Yeah. Everyone thinks, including my wife, it's really funny hearing her feedback when she's playing, because she's just started playing, is how she thinks how everyone is paying attention to her.
Oh, yeah.
And how they're so focused, and she's so nervous because everyone's watching, expecting something great to happen. Right. And when it doesn't happen, everyone is kind of like, oh, well, you're not very good, or whatever it is. And I'm like, I don't think anyone was even watching you swing. No offense. We're so wrapped up in just like our own next shot.
Right.
I'm watching to help her, like, where'd the ball go and whatever. But as far as me being concerned about her tee shot or something, no, I could care less.
Well, it'll enter your awareness, and then it leaves.
And then it's gone.
Yeah. And I think that's such a good God, it's such a good point about life in general.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we all walk around thinking everybody's looking at us and what we're doing.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Nobody actually cares. No.
And the people that do, they'll hopefully guide you in a loving way. And
if they do care, hopefully it's positively. They really want to help you be better at something. Exactly. But the people that seem to care. Yeah. We apologize for the abrupt end to the video podcast. We had a memory card issue, and it actually cut off before it should have. Anyway, technology is what it is. Episode 1. Thank you for watching. If you made it this part of the podcast, you can catch the audio full version all the way to the end on your favorite podcast platform. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you like this podcast series. There'll be many more coming. Like this video if you did enjoy the content. All of that information for Swing 365 Colorado is in the description below and on the audio version in the show notes. And we'll catch you on the next one.